And hello there. We'd like to welcome you into the Philly and Fred show for Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. We're going to talk about the games from the wild card weekend. We're going to go over a couple true or false. We're going to do a new, well, technically new, kind of not new segment, who you taking and who you're not taking. And we're going to finish the show with winners and losers. But before we get on to talking about the games, I watched the college football playoffs, and for the whole year, I kind of didn't understand the Mendoza train. Like, oh, I don't get what people seeing him as the number one pick. Everybody saying he's a lock. After watching two playoff games and watching him throw for more touchdowns than incompletions, I now see it. He's big. He can make all the throws. He's accurate. I mean, he was making throws. He was snapping the ball in the left hash mark and throwing it to the right sideline, right on the money. If he was just an inch inside, it's a pick six, and every time he was right on the money. I'm now on the train. Now, I don't know how much I'm going to be on the train of him being awesome in the NFL because he's going to go to the Raiders. That roster stinks. Hopefully they don't ruin him before he gets going. But yeah, I'm finally on the Mendoza train. Are you on the Mendoza train, Philly?
Yeah, I'm on it as well, and I've got to see him in person twice, and it was nothing really overly impressive when I saw him. They played Kennesaw State and Wisconsin respectfully, but they were big favorites in both games, so I didn't really get to see the whole complement of his game, but yeah, watch him in the CFP, man. Yeah, like you said, the last two games, 8 touchdowns, 5 incompletions, I believe, that's an insane stat right there. And he may be one of the most underrated Heisman winners we've ever seen. Like this dude, he's the real deal.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like, because when you look at the other quarterbacks that are in the NFL that were drafted high, like they wowed you doing something. He doesn't really wow you doing anything, but he just seems to do everything perfectly. And I seen old quarterbacks breaking down his film, and they said the one thing he can do at a special level is read and diagnose defenses. And if you know anything about playing QB in the NFL, that's something you got to have. And if you're elite at that, you got a chance to be an elite quarterback, even if you don't have super elite tools. We've seen that from Brock Purdy because Brock Purdy's not big, doesn't have a super great arm, but he's got great anticipation and he can break down and read defenses before the snap, after the snap, and that's what makes him awesome. So yeah, I watching Mendoza the last couple games, I'm now a fan, and I can now see where the hype's been all year for him going number one. But yeah, on to the wild card weekend, and boy, those especially those first four, those were four fun games to watch. And we'll start out talking about the first one: Rams 34, Panthers 31. What were your thoughts on this one, Philly?
Yeah, the way this started, I'm like, the Rams are about to just run away and blow these guys out. But Panthers, they stormed back in the game, that was very surprising to me. Stafford threw an interception, and after the first few drives, you just saw Bryce Young kind of just get comfortable in the offense, and you see those flaws still in that Rams defense, giving up a lot of points. Jalen Coker, he went off the undrafted guy out there. But yeah, Stafford and that offense, obviously, it's hard to stop those guys as well. But I mean, this was a fun, entertaining game to start off the weekend, and one of the few games that where the winner trailed in the last 2 minutes of the game. So
Yeah, that's on the Rams side. We talked about how bad that defense has been, and we talked about the secondary, especially some of the games they've given up to not elite passers. And once again, got absolutely killed by Bryce Young. Bryce Young was really, really good. And not only was he really, really good, but he was really good in a game that his offensive line kind of got dominated. A lot of the plays he had to make were on the run, scrambling, missing or making people miss, getting out of sacks, getting outside, and then just making plays with his arm and his feet outside the pocket. But I mean, he played good on time too. Like you said, Jalen Cokehead Coker. I mean, what did he have? 9 catches for 134 yards, a touchdown,
Mhm.
he was awesome. Didn't even know about the guy before the game, and then boom, he goes for 134. And really, if you would have told me that the Panthers could do that, because when coming into this game, I thought the reason I picked them to cover was that I was like, oh, okay, like last time, they're going to run the ball. Their secondary is not great, so Bryce Young is going to play well. But if you would have told me that they ran it as bad as they did, I would have said they got blown out. But they didn't run good. But Bryce Young made up for that. He played awesome, and they picked up his 5th-year option. So it seems like no contracts extension has been talked about since then. So I guess they're going to let him play out this year. They're going to see how that rolls, see how that goes, build around him for one more year, and then make the decision after the season. So he might have played his way into some money. Don't know yet. But back to the Rams. Stafford, he was 3 different players in this game. He was, well, he was 2 different, I guess, technically, because he was MVP Matt Stafford, and then he was Dan Orlovsky with the Lions running out of the back of the end zone. And then when he went back to MVP Stafford, because in the middle of the game, I think he started out 8 of 8. He went 4 of 19, and then the last drive or two was, I mean, unbelievable. That was Matthew Stafford, prime Matthew Stafford at the Lions. That, and did you hear what the some of the Rams players were saying?
No.
They got that ball with 2:30, and when they scored, they literally they had all the confidence in the world. They literally just said, "Oh, these guys don't know that we got 9, do they?" And then Matthew Stafford went into the huddle and said, "Let's go snatch these guys' hearts." And I was like, "Well, right there. That's why he's led 40-something game-winning drives right there, is because that's his mindset late in the game." Stafford in the fourth quarter, 12 of 15, 143, 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's why you're a Hall of Famer. That's why he's a Hall of Famer right there. Is because you could say he's not won a lot, but in Detroit, when he was given a chance, when his team gave him a chance, he delivered almost every time. Last thing I'm going to say about the Rams, Puka. Puka's one of those guys where I don't know how he's always open, because he's not super big. He's pretty big for a receiver, but he's not super big, not super fast, but he's just always open. And when he gets the ball after the catch, it's almost AJ Brown ish. Like when he gets the ball after the catch, he punishes people. He runs through people. Them corners, arm tackles don't work. And I thought about it during the game, because he's just one of those guys where it's like, how is he always like? Why is he open?
Yeah.
You should be doubling him, because Devontae's not the same guy anymore. So we should shut this guy down. But somehow no one ever does. Yeah, he was. Stafford was awesome. He was awesome. Bryce Young was really good. Jalen Coker was awesome. Rams get the Bears, and we'll see how they do in that one. Speaking of the Bears, another wild one. Saturday was wild. Packers 27, Bears 31. You're Bears fans. You go first.
Oh, just for me, a lot of emotions watching this game. I actually spent the first half of this game at Tanner's house and left
Oh, you
right
did?
before I did, right before halftime. I'm gonna say I think that's bad luck me going to Tanner's, because I went there the first game, we lost. Stayed at home the second game, we came back and won. Third game, obviously I spent the first half there, saw what we did first half, and then came back home second half, and we won the game. But
Well, but if I'm giving my opinion, I think you should do that. If that's the way it goes, you should do that every game. You should go in
I,
there the first half, get
yeah,
Tanner's hopes up, and then just have the Bears rip it from him
oh
right at the
yeah,
end of the game. That's a way worse way to get beat, being up 21-3.
oh
So
yeah,
to see Tanner sad, I think if I had to pick, I'd pick you doing that. But it's your team. It's
yeah,
your choice.
yeah. But I mean, the game started how the first two games did. I mean, Packers dominated both sides of the ball. We couldn't get no offense. Caleb, looking iffy. I feel like against the Packers, we've had a lot of questionable play calling. I want to say that I haven't been happy with. Um, but nonetheless, second we're a second half team, and that's what it comes down to. Really impressed with how the defense played the second half, especially, well, both sides of the ball, but especially the defense, giving up 21 the first half when, I mean, guys are just flying open. Literally, everybody. Golden, Reed, Christian Watson. It was really an embarrassment. But second half, they tightened up. I believe the first three drives or so for Green Bay were 3 and out. So they tightened up on that side of the ball. They got pressure. And, on the offensive side, Caleb, he just got it rolling. He's made some unbelievable plays, especially the one on 4th and 8 to Romo Dunze. That's a throw not too many QBs can make. So that was one that definitely helped. But I mean, this team, the way they battle, fight, and claw to the very end is just very impressive, and that just speaks to the culture that Ben Johnson has, established in Chicago. So it's been very fun to watch. And yeah, we scored 25 points in the fourth quarter, which was crazy. Like I thought we was gonna come back, make it a little game, but the fact that we won with time to spare was crazy impressive. So yeah, those are my thoughts, and I think we're a team to be reckoned with. If only we would start off faster, I think you know people would take us more seriously. But yeah.
Well, and that's what's funny about the NFL is you were right when you said it. You said one of the keys is starting fast because starting slow is one of those things that you do in the regular season and you get away with it, you get away with it, you get away with it, and then you get to the playoffs and it gets you. Well, they didn't start fast and it still didn't get them because they were down 21-3 and they still came back and won it. I now see because anytime somebody says, "Oh, this guy reminds me of all-time greats," I always kind of like, yeah, like okay, whatever. This game, I saw why people said there was some Mahomes in them because some of the throws, that throw on 4th and 8, rolling left. Not only was he rolling left, had a guy in his face, or no, my fault, had a guy tackling his legs.
Yeah.
Not only that, he layered it over the corner, but he couldn't throw it too far because his receiver was running out of bounds. I mean, he had to throw it in that direct spot, and he threw it in that direct spot, rolling left with somebody tackling his legs. So, but and he still misses easy throws. He's like, I thought about it during the game, and you know basketball, you'll understand this. He's like the guy that can't make an open shot to save his life. But as soon as there's somebody in his face and he's off the dribble, it goes down every time. I don't know if it's he likes the difficulty or what, but some open throws he still misses. But some of I mean, if I'm being honest, I think there's three people on this planet that can make that throw. One's Josh Allen, one's Patrick Mahomes, and the other's Caleb Williams. I don't know if there's another one on earth that can make that throw rolling left. And honestly, both of our keys to the game, speaking on the keys to the game, but we had both keys to the game. Yours was starting fast for the Bears. Mine was running the ball, and they did neither, and they still won. Oh, another thing, I
Yep.
owe an apology, by the way, to you and the Bears organization and a player.
What's that?
I I said I owe you an apology. I owe Bears fans an apology. I owe the organization and a singular player an apology because I kind of poked fun at him because you picked this guy over Tyler Warren, and he didn't have a catch for the first 6 weeks. But that guy in a playoff game need to have it. Second half, unbelievable. Guy caught everything his way. He was always open, and then even when he wasn't open, he still caught it. I mean, caught contested balls. Yeah, that he was awesome. He was awesome. Caleb Williams was awesome. The defense in the second half was really good, but Ben Johnson left Detroit, but he didn't leave. He brung the Dan Campbell mindset with him to the Bears because a
Yes, he
couple of
did.
those were a little hazardous in the first half inside his own territory. Those were tough, and we'll see if he changes his ways or like Dan Campbell, he keeps going back to the well to it, but we'll see. It almost burned him, but his quarterback and his tight end and his defense saved him there. But we'll see. And The other team, the Packers, I don't know. That's 2 out of the last 3 years you've blown a lead in the fourth quarter of a game. It was 21-6 in the fourth quarter. It was 21-3 at halftime, and this is their second half started was 3 plays, -2 yards, punt. 3 plays, 8 yards, punt. 5 plays, 13 yards, punt. 3 plays, minus or -10 yards, punt. And then you missed 2 field goals and an extra point. Like that was the Packers did everything they could to lose this game. So I don't know. I don't know where they go from here because they're making it seem like they keep LaFleur. You can't blame Jordan Love because he played well. I mean, guy had 4 touchdown passes, 300 yards, and I think they give him one more year because I'll let you speak after, but I think they give him one more year simply because you traded for Micah, didn't have him, and I've seen people saying, "Oh, that's why you get Micah." That is true. You get an edge rusher because when you take a lead, you want him to pin his ears back and get to the quarterback. But I don't give a damn. You get no excuses for blowing a 21-3 lead. So yeah, that Micah, that injury sucks, but you can't blame that on that. But how long do you think LaFleur gets? One more year? Do you think it's a C? How do you think him and his contract get resolved?
Yeah, I think he gets at least one more year. I don't really know a lot of coaching vacancies that would be open had he leave. So I do think LaFleur, overall he's a good coach. He's made some kind of maybe bonehead decisions or blown some leads this year. But yeah, you didn't have two of your best guys. Michael Parsons on the defensive end, didn't have Tucker Kraft he for the whole back half of the season. So those were two big injuries, but I think they'll still be in the conversation for years to come if he tends to stay there. So yeah, I think they give him at least another year to see what he can do with this team. But I mean, he does got to produce some playoff wins or real soon, or yeah, he'll definitely be out.
I mean, the funniest thing I seen was people saying that Packers fans saying they want Harbaugh, and I was like, well, you're gonna have a guy, you're gonna kick a guy out who blows leads in the fourth quarter of playoff games and replace him with probably one of the worst guys ever when it comes to blowing fourth quarter / second half leads. Would be funny.
Hmm.
I'd laugh, but I don't know if that's the way to go about that. Replacing one guy who struggles in the fourth quarter with another guy who's lost some games in the fourth quarter, but we'll see. Still early. The offseason ain't even started yet. Still playoffs, so we'll see where what more coaching vacancies there are, if any, and who fills them up. On to Sunday. Bills 27, Jags 24. The first question I have from this game is what questions do they ask Josh Allen when he goes into the blue tent? Because anytime he's ever went to the blue tent, whether it be his head gets banged off the ground, his knee gets rolled up on, or he hits his hand on a helmet, he always comes back out. He's hit his head and went to that blue tent about 3 times, and every time he comes out, never misses a snap. It's like they almost ask him, "Do you want to play, Josh?" Absolutely. Duh. Look at the doctor. He looks good to me, Doc.
They
But
give him something
yeah.
under the table there.
Oh yeah. I mean, they don't. The NFL, they talk about player safety all the time. They can miss me with that. I don't want to hear that. The amount of times they're like that, you see dudes wobble like this, and then he keeps playing. Yeah, they don't care. But on to the game. On the Bills side, I mean, we said the way the Jags are a better football team. I think they're a much better football team. But the one way that the Bills can beat the Jags, they got one guy who can make up for not being able to run the ball and not having playmakers outside, and his name's Josh Allen. And in this one, they didn't have a run game. Cook got held to, I think, 30 something, 33 yards, maybe 40 something yards,
46,
and then
46.
46 yards. And then their best receiver was Brandon Cooks / Khalil Shakir, and they still got it done, scoring 27 points. So, yeah, the defense played well, too. Like the Jags started getting it going a little bit late, but the Bills forced 2 turnovers. Those were big. So, I mean, yeah, on their side, you got the best player left in the playoffs. Your defense played solid. And I think their defense can play solid against the rest of the quarterbacks because there's not a Lamar or Josh Allen, or not a Josh Allen, but there's not a Lamar or Mahomes. So I think they can kind of control the rest of these offenses they're going to play in the playoffs and let their Superman really dominate. And yeah, Josh Allen, 28 to 35, 273 yards, 3 touchdowns, was incredible. Played on time, created a couple with his feet, threw a couple balls getting hit. I mean, guy was unbelievable. But the second best player on the field was Trey White because he was unbelievable in coverage, had multiple pass deflections, and then ended the game tipping the ball up in the air with a pass deflection to end the game, interception. Yeah, he was unbelievable as well. Looking forward for the Bills. I mean, you got Josh Allen, so you got a chance. And on the Jag side, I don't know. I like Liam Cohen. I think he's a really good coach. I think he's a really good offensive coordinator. They ran the ball 23 times for 154 yards, 6.7 yards per carry. I don't really know why they only ran it 23 times. I get Trevor Lawrence played well, but when you're running it for almost 7 yards a carry, I don't get the only running it 23 times. So but they got a bright future. I like them going forward. Liam Cohen, they found their coach. Their quarterback played the best year he's had this year. They got a lot of young playmakers. Parker Washington played awesome. He had 100 plus. So yeah, I think the future's bright there. It sucks though, because look at watching them play. I think they were the best team in the AFC, but they ran into the not even the second best team in the AFC. They just ran into the best player in the AFC, and they got bounced. That's what sucks about the NFL playoffs. You get one game and you lose it. One last thing about the Bills, they still scare me because that run defense is terrible. But yeah, what were your thoughts on this one, Billy?
Yeah, like you said, Josh Allen was Josh Allen in this game. He made a lot of plays, off schedule plays, a lot of design runs as well. Like that run game did not get going at all. James Cook didn't do much of anything in this game. Um, and then yeah, on the Jags side, I mean Lawrence had two big interceptions. The last one, not really his fault. I mean, it was hit Myers' hands, and it was pretty good defense on that. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, the Bills could not stop the Jags' run offense. I don't know why they didn't run it a little bit more. So, so yeah, and then I didn't realize how I think the Bills' pass defense is a little underrated. I mean, they kind of held Lawrence in check as well. So I didn't realize how good their pass defense actually was. But yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing about the Bills, like which I don't understand it, but I mean it's they've won some playoff games, but they play like I can't remember if they play dime. They play a bunch of dime or a bunch of nickel, where there's a bunch of corners and safeties on the field. So that's like they've always been great against the pass, but that's why you give up 7 yards per carry when you got 5 or 6 corners on the field
Yeah.
because they're just not as good against the run. So like yeah, they've that was the thing coming in is like that's the one good thing I do like about them heading forward on the defensive side is the Patriots have ran a little better lately, but the Broncos, we've talked about them. Without Dobbins, they don't run the ball well. Houston, before the Steelers game, they didn't run the ball well. And then the Patriots, I mean, they've run it better lately, but the season as a whole, they don't run it that well. So honestly, the AFC picture being what it is for the Bills defense, it's a pretty good setup. We'll see how it ends, but yeah, I think it's a good setup for them with the way they play defense, with the light box, with as many corners and safeties they got on the field, but that's why they play the game. So we'll see. The next one on Sunday was 49ers. Eagles, the 49ers 23, Eagles 19. What were your thoughts on this one in Philly, Philly?
Yeah, this was a little surprising. Not really after when George Kittle went down. I thought this Niners offense was gonna struggle a little bit. But just like all season, when one man goes down, I mean, another one just steps up. So I mean, they actually got off to a hot start. I believe in like 4 or 5 plays, they scored a touchdown on that first drive to was it Demarcus Robinson? I believe. I think Demarcus
Yeah,
Robinson. But yeah, yeah, he had a huge day. Purdy, he wasn't great in this game. He made a few bonehead mistakes, had 2 picks, and then he had the did you see the play before halftime where he didn't get out of bounds and then he kind of like
yeah.
fumbled and it was a runoff? Yeah, so like plays like that, like that's potentially 3 points right there that could have cost you the game. Unfortunately, it didn't for them. But I mean, I'm just really impressed with this Niners team. It's been next man up mentality all season. You haven't had Bosa, Warner, Kittle for majority of the season, and the fact that you're winning all these games is pretty impressive. They're I don't know if it was more of their defense or just the Eagles offense struggling like they have all season. I don't know which one I'm more impressed at, but yeah, to that Eagles side, as we saw today, fired their OC. I want to say Jalen Hurts has had a different OC every year since he's been in the NFL. So, um,
College
I
too.
mean, what's that?
College too. He said like I think he's gonna have
Yeah.
11 different offensive coordinators in 11 straight years.
Yeah, so I mean, hats off to him because like Hurts is one of the few guys I feel like on this team that just doesn't complain. He's had changes to his team every single year, and he never points the finger to anybody. So kudos to him, man. I feel like Eagles they need to give their I get it their OC didn't perform as well with the play calling, but I feel like that has to do with the coach as well. Like Sirianni, I feel like should have got involved a little bit more the beginning of the season. Um, but yeah, you also had AJ Brown dropped 3 balls, and then he's over here in Sirianni's face. So it seems like their culture is just not the same as it was last year. Maybe a Super Bowl hangover. You got Saquon going early, didn't really give him the ball a lot the second half. And this Eagles team, they just didn't have an identity all year, and we kind of saw this coming, where they probably wasn't going to be that good in the playoffs, and yeah, it was going to come to bite them. So, so yeah, I think we all saw this coming from the Eagles at some point in the playoffs, and yeah, their offense it just was quite honestly terrible. So, yeah, those are my thoughts.
All right, yeah, I'll start with the 49ers side or 49ers side like you said. I mean, the dudes are just resilient. It's next man up. You couldn't name a single player on their defense. And that offense, I know they weren't great, but the offense they were playing had AJ Brown, had Saquon Barkley, had Devontae Smith, had Jalen Hurts, had Dallas Goddard. And I mean, in the second half, they couldn't do absolutely anything. They were playing hard, hitting hard. I mean, just doing what they needed. Robert Sala, I mean, that guy, I kept seeing him getting job offers and maybe interviews, and I was like, oh no, what are people thinking? And then I was like, no, I'm not gonna think like that. He coached the Jets. We've seen what the Jets have been the last 50 years. I think he's not a bad head coaching candidate. And because we see what he can do with the defense. He took that defense and had nobody, no big names on there. All his studs, all his guys worth any money gone. And in a playoff game on the road, held a team to 19 points and gave his chance in offense or gave his offense a chance to win because his offense turned the ball over twice. Purdy had 2 bad picks. So not only did he allow 19, his defense allowed 19 points with his offense turning the ball over twice. So yeah, that defense played hard. Got to respect those guys on offense. Purdy, it wasn't pretty, but when they needed it, he delivered. Those last couple drives when they needed a touchdown, he was there. He was on point. He was accurate. He was on time, and he led his team down there. And that's when you pay a guy that much money. That's what you want him to do. In the playoffs, you want him to be clutch, and you want him to lead game-winning drives and game-ending drives, and that's what he did. And Christian McCaffrey, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I gave him the respect this year. I think I kind of thought he was washed. I did not give him the respect this year that he deserved because in that game, that guy is awesome. That route he ran on N'Kobe Dean to score the game-winning touchdown was nasty. He was on the right side,
Mhm.
went to the left, ran to Texas, and N'Kobe Dean had no chance. He was 1,000-yard receiver and 1,000-yard running back this year. And yeah, that's what I thought about watching that game, especially that last touchdown. I was like, they showed that he was second in scrimmage yards behind Bijan. And I was like, you know what? I think I didn't give him his due this year. We didn't talk about him for Offensive Player of the Year, nothing. So watching that game made me think to give him his due. Last thing on the 49ers side, that throw by Jawan, the play call and the throw. The play call was good. That throw was awesome. If that throw was made by a quarterback in his 6th year that's been a starter 6 years, I would say that was an amazing throw. I can't even put into words how awesome it was that a receiver rolling right, Jalen Carter in his face, and puts the ball out in front. And by the way, another insane catch by McCaffrey over the shoulder, but he's receiving back. So he's caught balls like that forever. But the throw by a receiver, rolling right, roughing the passer, Jalen Carter to the face, make a throw like that. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the play call. I couldn't believe the throw. Couldn't believe the catch. Unbelievable play. And we were talking about Salah. I was talking about Salah. Shanahan deserves the same credit. Kittle out. Jawan Jennings, your best receiver. I mean, really, McCaffrey is technically, but offensive line hasn't run block great all year. But that's what great offensive coordinators do. They work with what they got. He worked with what he got, and he got an awesome result. He got a playoff win. Now they got to go to Seattle. We'll see how that one goes. And on the Eagles side, it's just a mess. I don't know where they go from here. A.J. Brown didn't talk to the media. He dapped dudes up and then left. And if you're A.J. Brown, that's why you don't complain right there. Because he did all that complaining all year. He's read books like last year. He's put out tweets. You do all that, and then you drop 3 balls in a playoff game, and your team goes home. And then you show up the coach. I don't think there's any way they bring him back next year because it's like Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. Once your distraction outweighs your play, they'll get rid of you. Because when you're playing, you're not dropping balls, you got 1,500 yards, they'll tolerate it. As soon as you start dropping balls and you ain't the same guy no more, and you still are a distraction, you're gone. So I think he's gone. Sirianni, I don't know. I don't know what to think of him. When he doesn't have, it's kind of the Jalen Hurts thing. Like when the team's not awesome, when he doesn't have great offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators, the team's not good. So yeah, on their side, it's a mess. The offense, like I said, AJ Brown's gone. You're paying Jalen Hurts a lot of money. His salary cap hit's going to be a lot. The offensive line is getting old, getting hurt. Don't know where they go there. So yeah, it's Howie Roseman's a heck of a GM. So and he can draft. So we'll see how good he does. But I think it's a mess on that side. But last one of Sunday, Chargers 3, Patriots 16. What were your thoughts on this one, Philly?
Yep, I honestly didn't watch much of this game. Watched maybe about the first quarter, then I was out. But I mean, just what we saw the back stretch of the year without, two All Pro tackles from the Chargers. I mean, they just have no blocking. Herbert's scrambling the whole time. He has no time to pass, and yeah, it was really just a struggle from this Chargers offense. I was curious to see how Patriots defense was going to stack up against, higher competition because they have had a really light schedule this season. But I mean, they played really well. I don't know what I think of it fully, just because that beat up Chargers O line. So, but I mean, just another loss for Herbert in the playoffs. Oh, sorry about that. Another loss for Herbert in the playoffs. So, I mean, I don't know where they go from here. This is like your 6th year. You don't have a playoff win. I mean, you haven't been fully healthy this year, but I feel like there's got to be some changes made somewhere. Your defense. I mean, your defense played well enough for you, to win this game. You only allowed 16 points. So yeah, I don't think Drake May was crazy either. In this game, not sure how their run game went. Oh yeah, they dominated the run game, had almost 150 on the ground. I mean that's all you needed in this game. You didn't have to be spectacular. Your defense played pretty well for you. So
Yeah, I think it's good for a young quarterback to get a game like this under his belt. Didn't play well, but his defense helped him because that sucks. Because it's funny how different narratives are. That now, if he goes on a run and goes, let's say he wins the next one, then lose the AFC Championship and plays good in the next two rounds, people will be like, oh, he's going to be awesome. But if they played somebody else, he played this bad and they lost, it'd be like, oh, it's funny in a second here. They'd be like, oh, I guess he's not a playoff guy. So that's why, like,
hmm
I hate when people use playoff wins as a QB stat. I can't stand it, and this is one of the reasons why. Because, well, and it wasn't even this game, right? The big reason why was the next game we're going to talk about. But yeah, Drake May was okay. Didn't need to be great. Defense played well. We'll see how they play in the next one. I don't really know what to think because they're going to play another good defense, but even better defense that gets after you, will sack you, will strip you, will intercept you, will hit you hard. So we'll see how they play in that one. Like you said, I'm kind of not really sure what to think of them going forward in the playoffs, but we'll see. On the other side, the Chargers, it's it almost feels like the Packers, where they have built-in excuses this year. And I think they might run it back the same because your defense played well, but your tackles were both hurt. So I feel like the front office is going to say, oh, we were hurt. We're going to get our tackles back. We're going to run it back exactly the same because we think we had a good enough team this year. That normally doesn't work out, but we'll see because they will get healthier. They will get their guys back. The offensive line shouldn't be near as bad. And yeah, there's not too much to say on that one. We'll see how the Patriots do moving forward, and we'll see how the Chargers do in the offseason. We'll see what they do. And the one to finish it all Texans 30, Steelers 6. I mean, the game offensively went how I thought it would because nothing was open downfield. We had one open downfield. DK dropped it. And anything else open downfield took too long. And we got sack slash strip sack. So that's kind of how I thought it. And Philly, I told you this before we started recording. This was the worst one because you lost 30-6 and you forced multiple turnovers. Their quarterback put the ball on the ground 5 times. He had two fumbles lost. He threw a pick, and you got beat 30-6. And I mean, Tomlin stepped down. We'll talk about that after we finish talking about the game. But I don't know where we go because now Rodgers is probably gone. Cam Hayward's probably gone. It's probably time to just start a new era. I think get rid of your offensive coordinator, get rid of your defensive coordinator. Tomlin step down. Let Khan and the Rooney's pick the next head coach. Get a good guy, and we'll see how it goes from there. Like I said, like with Tomlin being gone, there's not really much to talk about because Tomlin will be gone. We'll probably have a new team. We'll probably either guys will retire. We'll get rid of a lot of people, cut people. Not too much to say. But on the other side, that defense, that they prove to me that they're better than I think every time. And I already think they're probably the best defense in the league. That defense, Daniil Hunter, I did not know. He has like 114, 115 sacks. He is unbelievable. Like he should be a Hall of Famer one day. And he's still doing that at a level where he can still keep racking up sacks. We obviously know about Will Anderson, the young guy. I mean, pressure feels like every time we tried to block him one-on-one. Anytime we tried to do that, yeah, no chance. I mean, Petrie. That guy, he ain't even a big guy, but he plays. He's safety. He plays and runs stout. Come up there hitting dudes, blasted her. That guy can cover and he hits hard. That their whole defense, like it feels like everyone does multiple things. Everyone hits hard, but then this guy can cover. This guy can run. This guy can get after the passer. Like everybody plays a role on that team, and they're all hard nosed, and they don't disguise nothing. They tell you, they go, here, this is what we're doing. We're blitzing. We're not blitzing. We're sending four. You can't run on us. You can't throw on us. We're going to get pressure. And that's how it's going to roll. So, yeah. But Stroud, I don't know what the heck was going on with him. I mean, the two dropped snaps. The one drop, he dropped the snap. He ran towards the offensive line. And when he ran towards the offensive line, tried to throw it, strip sacked. The flea flicker, the running back threw the ball 10 yards in the air. And then the interception, the guy was he was open for a split second, but then he threw it late. And not only did he throw it late, he threw it behind him, and it was an easy pick. So, I mean, if Stroud can go back to not turning the ball over, honestly, I don't know how anyone outside Josh Allen's Superman can really do anything against this defense. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on this one. What were your thoughts on this one, Philly?
Yeah, this game a prime example of, CJ, you don't have to be great, just manageable. And if you had played any like high power offense, you might lose this game. Like the score was a little definitely closer than what it reflected. This game was definitely closer than a 30-6 game. CJ Stroud, he just
No, it
didn't
was 7-6
mentally
in the
look
fourth
there.
quarter.
He had an Yeah, exactly. I mean, I woke up to 36. I'm like, what the heck happened? Um, but yeah, CJ, he had an interception along with putting the ball on the ground 5 times. Steelers just couldn't capitalize off of it. I mean, it's kind of understandable going against that defense, but you thought it would be a little bit, I guess, you'd get at least a touchdown on the board. But I mean, when you got this Texans defense going up against a 44-year-old quarterback, I mean, it's just hard to get anything going. Never really got the rush game going. This is one of my first few times I saw Woody Marks, and he looked pretty phenomenal. I didn't know he was that good. In between the tackles, he's a nice little running back. And then they have Chubb, a guy that kind of dominated his first 6 7 years in the league, and had a bad injury that's kind of set him back a little bit. But I mean, he can still run over you, and give you some good yards. So um, that was good to see out of Texans run game. On the Steelers side, your pass defense played pretty well in this one. I mean, y'all was boxing Nico Collins and those other receivers. Well, outside of Christian Kirk, he did go off. But the other receivers, you kind of, put in check. Uh, but I mean, yeah, that defense was just too much. I think you had two defensive scores at the end of that game. Um, they just don't let anything after they catch. Like you literally have 4 or 5 guys on you if you catch that ball. So the way they just storm to the guy with the ball is pretty impressive. So yeah, when you have this defense, I mean, you can definitely go win it all. So
Well, yeah. And like Stephen A says, it's Charlie Kirk. But, yeah, my last couple thoughts on the game. Joey Porter Jr., I mean, he was awesome. That's one good thing looking forward. Like, he ended the year, he should have been an all pro, but, they didn't pick him. But he was great in coverage. He stopped grabbing, he stopped getting holds, he stopped getting pass interference. And now, I mean, he's a top corner. He traveled with Nico. He can travel. He's big, he's tall, he's long. He's got all the tools to be a great corner. And we drafted him thinking that. Well, the Steelers drafted him thinking that, and then this year he turned into what all the fans thought he could be. So that was a good thing. And like you said with the run, I think that was one of the more depressing things also about this game was coming in all year when Benton had played, we had been great against the run. And he played in this one, we got pushed around. It's just I don't know what we need to do to break the playoff curse, but We got to do something. I don't know what to do, but Tomlin stepping down. They said it was his decision. We'll see how that goes. We'll see who the Steelers hire. We'll see if he goes into TV. That was his thoughts. But yeah, any thoughts on Tomlin stepping down?
Yeah, I feel like it was much needed. I mean, this is what the Steelers have been talking about through most of the season anyway. So I feel like it was mutual from both sides. Just after it seems like after Ben Roethlisberger left, y'all haven't had a sustainable and reliable quarterback, and it's just kind of been like old school football that doesn't. I feel like doesn't really work, nowadays in today's kind of new evolved game. So I think that was, kind of much needed. I don't think a lot of Steelers fans aren't, mad. It's just kind of bittersweet. The longest tenured coach in 19 years, that's who you Steelers fans are used to. So, but yeah, I could see him getting into an analyst role or being on TV for a year or two, and I could actually see him coach again. So, we'll see what his thoughts are if he wants to take some time off and then re-enter, or is he just gonna be done completely?
All righty, that's it for the slate. We're going to move on to true or false. First one, true or false. Josh Allen is already a top five playoff QB of all time. I'm going to go true because honestly, if you look at his numbers, you'd think he's won because he's won in yards, he's won in touchdown to interception ratio. And people are probably going to comment on this and be like, how can a guy that's never been to a Super Bowl be in the top five? Well, I can tell you, by averaging 300 yards per game and the interception to touchdown ratio being at over six, he's probably had one game that's been his fault in his time playing. But when that dude's in the playoffs, you know that it's going to be an issue trying to stop him from his offense moving up and down the field on you and them scoring touchdowns. Because if you look at his losses in the playoffs, he scored 36 points, he scored 24 points, and he scored 29 points. His last three, I think. So, I mean, the guy's played well. You look at his stats, they're all first, second. So I think he's a top five QB playoff QB of all time. What do you think, Philip?
This is close. I think he's up there. I'm gonna go false though. I just think even with his numbers being pretty good, and none of the losses have really been his fault. I just think I can't personally put him ahead of guys that you know have won multiple Super Bowls and played. I feel like just as good as him. Guys like Patrick Mahomes, Joe Montana, who I believe is undefeated um, in Super Bowls. So I'm gonna go false. But if Allen can get to a Super Bowl this year, that answer will be changed to true. But I feel like until he can reach that stage, at least he's gonna be outside the top five for me. So false.
All righty. Next. All righty. Next one. True or false? The Jags versus Bills feature the two best teams in the AFC. I think it's true. I watched all the other teams in the AFC, and they all had major gaping holes that were a problem. And I mean, the Patriots got lucky that the Chargers' offense was even worse than them. They had turnovers. The Chargers, obviously, we've seen them. And then the Texans, Stroud also don't know what he was doing. He was also terrible. He put the ball on the ground 5 times and had an interception. And then the Steelers, we've seen what they were like. So I think these two were the best two teams. It sucks for the Jags to get the Bills because they literally played the one team. I think the Jags were the best team in the AFC, but they played the team in the AFC that had the best player on the field in any game he's going to play in. And I think they just got unlucky with the draw. So, yeah, I think Jags and Bills are the two best teams in the AFC. What do you say, Philly?
I'm gonna go false. I did have Jags as that was the best team in my opinion in the AFC. They unfortunately went down, but I still think this Bills. I'll still put them behind a few teams, probably the Texans and the Patriots. But I mean, they do have the best player on the field at all times, whoever they face. So that is an advantage. But I still see, a lot of falls in that rush defense. The worst I feel like out of any playoff team. And I think the Patriots, I mean, this is a team that's, beat them once head to head in their stadium. And then they gave up a 21-0 lead to them. So I still think the Patriots are a better team. Without that, collapse to them, then I don't think this will be a question. And then the Texans, obviously the best defensive unit, well, in my opinion, in the whole league. The offense still needs a lot of work, but I think just whole as a team, I think the Texans and the Patriots, I believe, are better than the Bills. So I'll go false.
All right. All righty. Next one. You can go first on this one. True or false? Bryce Young played his way into getting a second contract.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. You got your team to the playoffs at least, even in it wasn't pretty. You only finished 8-9, but I mean that's progress. Getting to the playoffs, you showed a lot of flashes, beating some teams that you shouldn't have beat, and his play was a little inconsistent. But I mean overall, you had a great bounce back season after you was benched last season to Andy Dalton, so you definitely showed some lots of improvements this year, and I think you definitely played your way to a contract, Bryce. So yeah, true.
I'm gonna go true as well because I mean that's when you want him to be good, and possibly the best he's looked all year was in the most important game against one of the better teams you've played all year. So yeah, I'm gonna go true as well. You play good in big moments like that, build around him, get a little bit better offensive line. You got Tet, so you got a number one receiver. Coker, I mean, he looked like a number one, number two receiver. I don't know how long that would last. I don't know if that could last over a whole season, but we'll see. Build around him in off season, pay him. But and I don't think a second contract doesn't mean it's got to be 50, 60 million. I think you could keep him in that Sam Darnold Baker range where it's 30 to 35. He's still getting paid well, and you can build a good team around him. So I'm going to go true as well on that one. All righty, that's it for true or false. Next segment is who you taking and who you not taking. We're going to have one who you taking and one who you're not taking. First, who are you taking? The Texans defense or the Seahawks defense? And I got to say the Texans. I mean, every time I watch them, they got dogs everywhere. They're great against the run, great against the pass, and I just haven't seen a defense better than them. They remind me of with the rules of the way they are nowadays. They remind me of a 2000 Ravens, 2008 Ravens, Steelers, 2015 Broncos level defense. Like that's how good they are. So if you gave me an option, I'm taking the Texans, but that's no slight for Seattle. I think Seattle's the second best defense. They can also do everything. They can also get after your quarterback, can also cover and stop the run. So not taking anything against away from them, but there's not a defense to me better than the Texans. What do you say, Philip?
Yep. I'm taking the Texans defense as well. These guys fly around the ball, they get interceptions, fumbles, you name it. And I just think I mean that is no knock to Seahawks defense. I just feel like Texans, I mean, they're dealing with a worse offense than Seattle, so I feel like they've carried them a lot of games, and if they score less than 20 points, then your team is almost guaranteed to win. So, yeah, Texans defense for me as well.
All righty, next. Who are you not taking? Who are you not taking between the Eagles offense, the Chargers offense, and the Steelers offense? I'm not taking the Steelers offense because at least in the Eagles offense, you had A.J. Brown, you had Saquon, you had Dallas Goddard, you had Devontae Smith. At least with the Chargers, you had Justin Herbert, You had Keenan Allen. Lad wasn't good this year, but I mean he showed flashes. And like I said, you had a young good quarterback. The Steelers offense, they were the worst offense in the playoffs. They had nothing. You had a 42-year-old quarterback. You had a young offensive line. You had, I don't think, a great offensive coordinator. You had DK who got a chance early, dropped the ball, and then your other best receivers were MVS, Adam Thielen, and Scotty Miller. And really, if we're being honest, your best receivers were Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren. So yeah, I think out of the three offenses, they are the worst. So I'm not taking the Steelers. Who are you not taking, Philly?
I'm not taking the Steelers as well. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Eagles and Chargers offense, I mean, you got studs on, those wideouts and the running back position. I don't really see that with the Steelers outside of DK Metcalf. Kenneth Gainwell, and those guys have been good for you this year, but yeah, you got a 42-year-old quarterback, and the offense just I feel like they never had an identity this year, and it's really just been a struggle all season for the Steelers. So yeah, I'm not taking the Steelers either.
All righty, that's it for who you taking, who you not taking. On to the last segment of the show. All righty, Philly, who's your winner and who's your loser from this weekend?
Yeah, winner gotta go. Uh, Sorry, not biased, but I'm gonna go my Bears. The way we won that game, we did it twice versus the Packers, who have historically owned us throughout the years. So for us to play as bad as we did in really every first half versus the Packers, and storm back and win two of those games, the one you lost, you still had a chance at the end of the game. That just shows what this team, the fight that this team has under Ben Johnson. They believe in his system. We believe in our quarterback and Caleb Williams. We have 7 comeback wins in the last 2 minutes of the game, most in NFL history. So it's not luck at this point. We keep doing it. So very impressive for my Bears. So they'll be my winner. My loser, I guess I could have won a few teams here. I'm sorry, Fred. I'm gonna go your Steelers. Tomlin, I mean, just what, 8, 9 straight years of basically mediocrity. Yeah, you're getting to the playoffs, but the fact that you've lost all of those games in the first round is that's why you're not the head coach now, and why you stepped down. And just your defense played well enough for you to win the game, but your offense didn't do anything, and you was kind of inconsistent, throughout the whole year, and it bit you at the worst time. So Steelers gonna be my losers for the week.
Yeah, same thing every year. Good enough to make the playoffs, not good enough to win a playoff game, and not bad enough to get a good pick to get your future quarterback. Been stuck in mid purgatory for the last 10 years, and change needed to be made. I don't think Tomlin's a bad coach. I think he will find a good job, and I think he'll be successful. But I think sometimes message just gets stale, and it's time for both parties to part ways, and I think it's going to be good for both parties. But yeah, my winner and loser, I'd say my winner is I think the 49ers, because I mean they didn't really feel like they had much of a chance coming in. You had you had George Kittle go out during the game with a torn Achilles. You already didn't have Fred Warner. You already didn't have Bosa. You already didn't have Pearsall. You went in to Philly, and you beat a you wanted a tough place to play. That's Shanahan. I think he got some things off his back. I think because you can't. People have said like, oh, how great of a coach is he? I think he's a great coach because to take that team with the injuries they've had all year and in this game to lead that team to a 12-5 record and win a road playoff game, I think that's a heck of a coaching job. I think that they had a heck of a weekend winning a tough game like that in Philly. So they'll be my winner, and I think the Eagles are my loser because I think things are going to change there now. I think AJ Brown's gone. I don't know what you do. I assume they keep Sirianni. And did you hear the reports? LaShawn McCoy was talking about this on his show that a reason that the offense is so basic is because Jalen Hurts needs it that way. That's the only thing he can operate in is a basic offense. And that Petula was basically like, I mean, I'm doing as much as I can do with what I can do and what's given to me. But I mean, that's a report he said. Don't know if it's true, but yeah. So if that's true, you're paying that guy $50 million. He's not going to have AJ Brown most likely next year. Saquon still awesome, but getting older. Devontae Smith, but yeah, offensive line getting older. Yeah, they're my loser because not only did you lose, but it almost feels like things are starting to come to an end there. And there's going to have to be some moving of some pieces and some trades or some just something to really turn around what's going on over there. So yeah, that's my winner and loser for this weekend. Anything else before we get out of here, Philly?
Nope.
All righty. See y'all on Saturday.